Well, hey, howdy, hey guys, and welcome back to Dan's Pro Shop. You know me, your man, Dan. Today, we're just doing some honeydew list stuff. Mother Nature waits for no man, and it is getting chilly here in the greater Pittsburgh area. We getting into evenings here well below 40 degrees, and I do not want to get caught with my pants down and have the camper freeze up overnight when I'm not even thinking about it. So unfortunately, things get chilly here sooner than the majority of the country. So we got to take care of this crap sooner than the majority of the country. So I don't know. Let's just get out there and start doing the thing, huh? So, guys, just in case you're new here, this is my 2021, 2, I don't know, somewhere in there. KZ Sportsman 270 THSE toy hauler special edition. I don't know if that's just because they wanted to put the stickers on there. There's nothing special about this, I promise you. But yeah, I've done some stuff with this thing in the past on the channel, so if you want to check it out, go ahead and check it out by all means. And actually, last year I posted a pretty in-depth video about a good practice on how to like winterize and prep for the cold weather with these things, particularly about flushing out the water system and pumping with antifreeze and everything. Well, for simplicity's sake, that's pretty much what we're going to do today. But I'm going to kind of fly through it, and it may not be as good as the previous one due to my lack of wingage here. But either way, it's going to be a very similar process. We're going to get in here, bypass the hot water tank, make sure everything's drained, get in here, take out the anode rod, because that's how you drain the tanks on these things. In case you're unfamiliar, stick around, we're going to do it. And then get over on the other side with the pump, turn on the bypass valves, evacuate the water, clean the filter strainer, all that crap, and then suck up some antifreeze. So let's start digging into these things and see what it's all about. Well, as far as location and procedure for this stuff, I know everybody's camper is a little bit different because everything's constructed a little bit different. But in practice, in theory here, this process is exactly the same for every camper all over, all makes and models, no matter what it is. What happens is the same thing. Just where your stuff is and how it operates may be a little different situationally. So this one, since it's a tow behind, not a fifth wheel or whatever, the majority of like the utilities you would find up front underneath the main bed, like in the front bedroom here. At least that's the way this one is. I mean, I know that there's a lot of different setups and configurations, like some are in the back, some are in the side, some are underneath. I don't know. But either way, wherever your stuff is, this procedure should be incredibly similar no matter what. But got to get in here and tear out all of my stuff because this is like the mobile garage for the camper. There is so much crap in here. Actually, I made a video specifically about all of the stuff that I carry in this thing. It's good stuff to have and good stuff that I think I added that really isn't necessary but is awesome. So I will link that video here and in the description in case you want to check that out. But we need to get in here behind the hot water tank and flip that bypass. So whenever we do the pumping of the antifreeze, we're not just filling the hot water tank because you're just wasting antifreeze. So that's like really step one. Oh, need me a drill. Forgot that. Man, I got to tell you, for being a predominantly right-handed fellow my entire life, this injury has definitely humbled me. And trying to like learn how to be ambidextrous. I mean, by no means in any way, shape, or form am I ambidextrous, but I have gotten significantly better at using my left hand over these past couple weeks. But we're not here to talk about my problems. We're here to potentially fix yours. So if you guys can see in there, I just removed that little beauty panel. That's just to like to keep your stuff from banging into the hot water tank going down a road. I mean, it's not the most stout thing in the world, but it does help. Here, is the backside of a very typical, like, brand name Suburban RV tank. I think it's like 3 or 4 gallons. I don't know. It's super small. But on the back side of this thing, there are some like flexible PVC or maybe even PEX lines that have quarter turn ball valves in them. Right now, they are turned on, so it utilizes the hot water tank. This guy right here, in case you haven't seen, you know, if you're doing this video for research before purchasing one, good for you. But in case you already have one, this should be good to help you out. But this guy, we need to turn that bypass valve off or on because we're bypassing, so we turn it on. You know, say that however you want to, but it keeps the pump from pumping water into the hot water tank. So we're going to remove this guy right here. You probably can't see it. Don't worry, we'll get that when we get there. But we'll get back in there and shut that valve off. So doing my best to get you guys in here. I know it's rough here. There we go. That valve right there. And that valve right there. We need to turn those off. So the main blue right there, that line would feed water into the hot water tank so it can get heated up and all that stuff. We need to turn those bypasses on or off, however you want to say that. But either way, we need to take the hot water tank out of the loop, so we need to turn those valves. Oh, come on. Come on. Sweet Lord. This will be so much easier with an operational arm. Oh, there we go. Okay. So, that actually makes more sense if you're physically looking at it. I'll explain it. Okay. So, the way those valves work is it's just a traditional quarter turn ball valve. I mean, it's a crappy plastic one. But whenever it's 90 degrees from the bypass line, that means that the supply is going into the tank, being heated, utilized, and then coming back out the hot line tank, or the hot line on the tank. Whenever you turn the valve, the handle is in line with the bypass line. So the water comes up from the supply through the bypass and then back to the tank. It doesn't actually go into this tank. It goes back to the holding tank. But that's the way that works. Now we need to get on the other side and pretty much do this exact same thing and unbury the pump. Oh man, I always forget how much stuff is in here. Oh. That might be sufficient to do what we need to do. Let's get the drill. Come on. So much stuff. But that's probably one of the worst parts about growing up. You realize how much crap you have. And it's, oh, God, sometimes it's infuriating. Come on. Come on. Oh. Well, that's definitely stripped. Gooses. Sweet. Good night. Come on. Oh, man. This will be so much easier with 2 arms. All right. There we are. I'll bring it in so you can see what we're talking about. Alrighty, so here we are at the main water pump assembly. Yours may not look like this, but I promise you it operates the same. Like I mentioned, all the stuff will be different, but for the most part, the same. This guy right here is the suction line that we are going to use to pull up the RV antifreeze into the water system. So right now, we don't need this thing. But we do need to flip the bypass down here, which my hand is probably in the way, So it doesn't suck water from the tank, which should be empty by now, and it will start sucking from here. So we can go ahead and start doing that. Well, now we've got a pretty good start. We got the bypass activated on the hot water tank. We have the water pump exposed, and we have the suction line from the fresh water tank turned off, and that is drained. I will show you that because it's very similar on all makes and models. The next thing that we need to do is open the low point drains in these things to get all the remaining water out of any lines and stuff that is lower than the fixtures inside the trailer. That is the first thing you want to do, and then we follow it up with compressed air. You don't need to, but I do. I mean, you can use the antifreeze that you're going to pump in to push the water out, but you know, it's one of those things where you can't do it too well. So if your lines are empty and like cleared out empty, then you just know you're going to be good. So let's get under there and open the low points, and then we go inside and open the fixtures to allow that, like, it'll break that suction and really allow those things to drain. All right, so you guys can see here, there's actually a sticker that says, hey guy, there's a low point drain right here. Well, with this one, there's actually a couple. This is just the one for like the lines that come from the supply back to the rest of the trailer. So I know you really can't see it, but it's like way up in here. You'll see whenever I turn it on. Okay, that is all the lowest points of the plumbing in the trailer that get drained out of this point. Like I mentioned, we're going to go inside and open the spigots in there, like the faucet in the bathroom, faucet in the kitchen, and we're going to allow this stuff to break vacuum and flow out. Now this one here is a little bit easier to see because it sticks down further. You see that piece of blue PEX there with the valve on the end of it? That is simply the drain for your freshwater tank. I've already done that because I opened it last night anticipating doing this today. So all you do is simply open that so the valve is parallel with the line, and it will drain everything that's in your freshwater tank because you definitely want that empty. Let's go inside, open all the fixtures. Oh, here we are inside here. We're just going to open up the valves on all these fixtures. Maybe you can hear that. It's releasing the vacuum in all of the plumbing system so it allows it to drain properly. I'm going to go ahead and do this exact same thing in the kitchen. Just open the valve. Make sure everything is going well. And then now we can do the air thing that I was telling you about. Well, guys, luckily for me, because I overthink everything, if you saw that other video about the crap I keep in here, you already know this. But in case you didn't, I have an onboard air compressor because this thing is a toy hauler and I am a bike junkie. So whenever we go places, racing, riding, camping, or whatever, it's nice to have an air compressor on board. It is fantastic. Like I mentioned, check out that video if you want more details. But what we're going to do here is I made this little fixture fitting thing. I know it looks barbaric and like something Frankenstein would do, but I got myself a quarter turn ball valve, a male air nipple, and then that goes into a hose fitting. So we are going to attach this directly to the city water connection on the side of the trailer. So inside, we open those valves to release the vacuum. Once that is done and you've drained all you could with gravity, if you will, close those valves back off. So now we effectively have a sealed system minus the low point drains that are still open. We want those to be open for this process. We are going to introduce air into the system and effectively purge the water that is left in it. So we have the hot water tank bypassed, so that is completely out of the system. We will deal with that later, like I mentioned with the anode rod. Everything inside is shut off. The low point drains are open. We're going to do some air. So come right here to our city water connection. Screw this homemade guy in here. And they make actual ones of these. It's just, you know, I'm a do-it-yourself kind of guy, so I made my own. Make sure the valve is shut off. Plug our air in. Come on. Come on. And start introducing some air. Now you guys pay attention to over there underneath the drain pipe. You're going to see whenever I turn the air valve on, all the water is going to become squirting out underneath. See that? Look at all more stuff we're getting that gravity alone couldn't get. There, the air compressor kicked on. Now I'm gonna run over there and close like the hot and then do specifically the cold and then vice versa, just so we're sure we got everything we can. So there, I have the hot line shut off. Now we'll purge specifically just the cold. That's pretty good. Now we'll do the other. Open the hot. Close the cold. Purge one more time. That's pretty good. I think we're ready to start doing actual antifreeze. Well, guys, like I mentioned, this is an unnecessary process step here, but I like to do it. It makes me feel better. If you choose to do this, be careful. You can go overboard. Like if you don't have a fixture or a valve or a drain or something open and you charge your water system with potentially 150 psi of air, you will have a problem. So if you do this, please be careful, pay attention to what you're doing. Now, once you're done with this process, be sure to close your low point drains. You want them shut off, closed, because whenever we go to suck up the antifreeze into the system, you start pumping it through, it's all going to come right out of your driveway. You don't want that. You want it to fill the lines and eventually go back to your gray tank, which doesn't matter. You know, it's antifreeze. Just let it sit in there for the wintertime. But now we go ahead and get our tank. We already have our bypass shut off for this thing. We start sucking up some antifreeze. So I got me here some specific made, what it was, RV Marine Antifreeze. Local hardware store, I think $2.99 a gallon or something. Yeah, it's not the cheapest stuff in the world, but it's not expensive either. For the amount of headache and stuff you're saving yourself by doing this process, well worth it. So we're just going to put that guy right there. Go ahead and put this line in the jug. Make sure that everything is turned on and ready to go. We have the pickup line from the tank shut off. We have the line from this jug into the pump turned on. So now when we turn on the water pump inside the RV, it will suck from this jug and not the tank. Wouldn't matter if it was sucking from the tank anyway. The tank's empty because we just drained it. So now we are effectively using this as our water source and it will fill the lines inside the RV. Let's go inside and see how it goes. Now guys, remember we have our low point drains closed outside. So whenever we turn on the water pump, it will actually charge the system and not just dump out onto the driveway. So make sure you have the fixture that you want open. We're going to do this one at a time so we're absolutely positive we have everything done. We're going to do cold here until pink comes out. Hot here until pink comes out. Next fixture, same thing. Toilet, same thing. It's just the ritual and doing this properly and getting in the habit. So let's go ahead and turn the pump on. Water pump, activate. So right now it's pushing that little bit of water that was left in there that we didn't get with the air or the gravity drain. There we go. We're pink already. You do not have to go crazy with this. If you do it properly, you can get away with probably maybe 2 gallons max of this antifreeze. I'm going to go ahead and turn this to hot. Turn it on. Now that was just a little bit of pink that was left in the fixture. Now we're coming through the bypass. Beautiful. This whole thing's pink. All right, cool. We went through about a half a gallon for that process. We're going to do the exact same thing for the bathroom. Cool. We're pink on cold. Pink on hot. All right. That fixture's done. Let's do the shower. I just do this right into the same sink. why not? Don't make your thing dirty for no reason. Awesome. Shower's pink. Turn it over to hot. Oh, I think our jug's empty. Time to go change it out. I'll just make sure one more time. The hot. All right, we're good on hot. We're good on cold. That should be it for the shower. Now we'll make sure we do the same thing for the toilet. Same thing. We just have the pump turned on. Run this guy till she's pink. Nice. Now, good practice. Leave some in here. Cover that valve on the top of your toilet. It helps preserve the seal. You want your toilet to look like this when you're finished. Now, another thing that is commonly forgotten about, and honestly, I'll take blame for that because I have forgotten about it also. If you have an outside fixture or shower, you have to do the same thing. It's easily forgotten about. Like if you have a fancier, like fifth wheel or something with an outside kitchen or something, you're going to go through a lot of this stuff. So the exact same thing. We turn the pump on inside, let it prime, let it charge, come out here, turn on both of these until she's running pink. I honestly don't even know if I used this thing this past year. I think it's still pink. But either way, you can't be too careful, right? Nice. Let's go ahead and throw that last jug in here. Just why not? Nice. I think that is sufficiently done. So go inside and run through the fixtures one more time since we have extra stuff and it's cheap. And then we'll come out here and start buttoning things up. All right. Now that is done. The freshwater tank is drained. The low points are drained and purged. The system is fully primed and full of antifreeze. The last thing that we have to do is the hot water tank. Let's take a look at that. Alrighty guys, just in case you are unfamiliar with this here setup, let me learn you something. This is your hot water tank, or this is like the service side of it that you would see, like all the stuff on the bottom of a gas hot water tank that you would see inside your house. This is pretty much the same thing, just laying on its side. This is the pressure regulator and valve for the LP or propane that runs this thing. This guy underneath here is the electric element should you choose to run this on electric instead of propane. So the elements are underneath this cap. Right next to it, this is your anode rod. It is usually made out of some low density metal like aluminum or magnesium. And the point of this is that whenever you have acidic or corrosive water, like with a high mineral content, it tends to destroy metal. That's just what happens, the physics of the world that we live in. So whenever you put something in there that is a softer metal than the tank is made out of, in this case steel, this becomes the sacrificial anode. That's the point of this thing. So the harsh water, the minerals, the deposits, whatever, it attacks this anode rod first and leaves the hull of your tank alone. Well, at least that's the goal anyway. As long as you flush this thing and clean this thing regularly, replace this anode rod once a year or multiple times a year, depends on how much you use it, this thing can help maintain or increase the life of your hot water tank drastically. And yes, the big hot water tanks in your house have these anode rods also. They are important and they are a maintenance item. They are commonly overlooked, but it is something that needs to be done, especially for RVs, because this is how you drain these things. They need to be removed, discarded, and replaced next season. Now, moving along, this is the gas port where everything goes into the combustion chamber. This guy here is the thermocouple and ignition source. So whenever this thing turns on, you hear that click, 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 click. That's a little arc coming across two probes at the end of this guy. That's what actually ignites the flame. This guy is your exhaust. So the combustion happens here. The spent fumes come out here. That is where this grate is, and it's really hot. So you want to be away from that thing. Finally, up here, this is what's called the T and P valve. That is temperature and pressure. So if something happens inside of this hot water tank where either the temperature gets too high or the pressure gets above what the manufacturer considers an acceptable range, this thing will open or pop off and allow that excessive temperature and or pressure to come out of this thing rather than stay in the tank and potentially explode. These things are another big service slash maintenance item that need to be exercised regularly, at least once a year, and or changed if they are found to be faulty. So whenever we're doing this, we're actually going to open this thing to allow the vacuum to go through here, drain the water, and at the same time, we can check to see if this thing is functioning correctly. So basically, that is a 20-second rundown of what's happening in your hot water tank. Whew, I had to lose the jacket. It's actually getting a little warm out here. But what we're doing here, we need to extract the anode rod. In case you guys are wondering, this is an 1/16". It is the exact same size as the ones that you would find at a residential water heater in your house. So get you a big old ratchet here. I strongly suggest not using an impact gun on this. Because of how crappy these things are built, there is a solid chance of you unpressing the seat of the bung in this thing. So just take your time, use a hand ratchet, and be careful. Because, I mean, they are tight, don't get me wrong. Yeah, it is tight, but it's not that big of a deal for a 2-foot long ratchet. Go ahead and unscrew this. Now, let me interject here for a moment. For those of you out there that are about to see what you're going to see and thinking, hey, this turkey has no clue what he's doing. I mean, look at this joker over here. I promise you, I have done this a lot of times in the past, this exact same procedure. And believe it or not, this is what you're supposed to do. However, things go bad. Components go bad. I mean, I've spent my entire life doing industrial repair on machines and factories and mills and stuff. Like, components go bad, and you don't necessarily know they go bad until they go bad. So you're about to see something go bad that I wasn't anticipating. And unfortunately, we had a rough end result. So this is just something you can pay mind to. I just wanted to give myself a little bit of a, little something, but you'll see what I'm talking about. Screw this thing and you won't believe the amount of crap that comes out of here. Well, guys, yeah, we seem to have suffered some technical difficulty there. You didn't catch the, yeah, so, like I mentioned about being careful with all this crap, these valves that I showed you in the back of the hot water tank, evidently mine are faulty. They're supposed to bypass the hot water tank and not fill the hot water tank, because that was 4 gallons of pink antifreeze with a lot of sediment and calcium and stuff. And unfortunately, it soaked my arm thing. So now it's sitting in the garage drying out with 2 gallons of antifreeze in the padding. Well, take my word for it. Yeah, I guess just check that. Maybe crack your TP valve before you take out the antifreeze.
What an idiot! Oh, what a loser! Good. Good.
Well, guys, yes, it is a new day. I know I didn't exactly finish the process, but we were darn close to the end. The only thing you missed was me cleaning myself up from that faux pas. But yeah, like I mentioned out there in the driveway. So that bypass valve that goes behind the hot water tank that I explained to you guys when I dunked my head in there in the cargo bin up front, how that is supposed to work is whenever you turn those valves, the line bypasses the hot water tank. So evidently, unknown to me, either one or both of those valves failed at some point during the last camping season, and it was allowing the antifreeze to fill the hot water tank and evidently charge it too. I mean, it wasn't like a crazy charge, and the water wasn't hot, just in case any of you guys are wondering. It was just room temperature antifreeze. And since it's RV antifreeze, it's, dare I say, safe. Like, it is, it won't kill you if you drink it, if you're wondering. So like it was no big deal getting covered in this stuff other than it just being gross and sticky and whatnot. If you've ever been covered in antifreeze, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But either way, because that valve or valves wasn't properly bypassing the hot water tank, the whole time I was doing the antifreeze pump through the RV, it was filling the hot water tank and I didn't even notice. I guess I should have paid more attention to how much antifreeze I was using and figured it was going somewhere. But you know, I'm just doing it and going with it. I didn't even think about it because this has never happened before doing this exact same procedure. But now you know, maybe that's something you can look out for. And I guess in the future doing this, I will just have this in the back of my head, like knowing that it's a possibility. And I'll go ahead and pop open that T and P valve first, just in case there is any pressure in that tank. It'll come out of there instead of coming out the anode rod hole and covering me. And you guys can tell here that I don't have the little pad thingy under my arm brace anymore because it's currently sitting on the floor of the garage soaked with a couple of gallons of antifreeze. So yeah, I mean, you live and you learn. I guess it's like I mentioned that yeah, you know, I'm human. It happens to everybody, and I figured, you know, something happened to me, and just in case this is a thing, because you know how the quality of these campers are just fantastic. Chances are this may happen to you guys. So use my little accident to potentially save you from having an accident in the future. But yeah, like I mentioned, the only thing you actually missed is once I got the anode rod out and I cleaned myself up a little bit, there's a little attachment that goes on your garden hose that you just stick in that anode rod hole and it simply just flushes out the sediment. And once you have that flushed out, that's it. You're done. I mean, we already did the air flush, we did the antifreeze flush, we got the water out, we got the low point drains done, we got the freshwater tank done. Everything was done and it was working swimmingly up until that point. Just, of course, it was the last thing and we had stuff going on later in the day and it was just a frustrating moment. So I just hurried up and finished it and I didn't film it. Again, not to mention, I was soaked and it destroyed my microphone. So I had to order new ones that day, and now we got a new set, so I can continue doing this. But yeah, uh, I'm sorry, but you know, the things happen. What are you gonna do about it? But you guys got the majority of what's going on, and like I mentioned, I did another video last year about this same process. I'm sure it's a little bit different, but you know, this one has a little more excitement going on to it. So if you're interested, check out that video up here or down in the description. Everything will be there, and all the links to all the crap that you're looking for, like all that air fitting thing that I made. There's an actual real one that you can purchase. That'll be down there, and just all kinds of stuff and anything and everything that you need for this particular process. But yeah, so at least we are good for another winter season here in the Pittsburgh area. And I know my stuff isn't going to freeze and blow up overnight. I don't have to worry about it. And now I know I got to get on the old Amazons and get myself a new bypass valve kit so I can replace that at the beginning of next season and avoid this from happening again. So, guys, I hope you got a little something out of this and you can prevent that disaster for yourself. So, hopefully, you guys enjoyed, and we will see you next time.